Alright, welcome back to the Trumpet Perspective. Be sure and subscribe and ring the bell, and I'll try to get those little fancy little things going out there on the screen as I say that, but I'm still working. So this is all a work in progress. Thank you for joining. So a few weeks ago I put out one about buzzing and playing the mouthpiece. It led me to think about one other aspect. Folks and trumpet players are the worst about this. We searching for the Holy Grail of mouthpieces. So I've got just a mixed up hodgepodge of mouthpieces here. And there's a myth that the mouthpiece helps you or makes you play high, makes it instant, like magic pill. Put that in there, Holy Grail of mouthpieces, as I said, and bam, you've got instant range. That's a absolute myth, and the mouthpiece is no more than just an interface. It's a conduit to take air from this air pump and focus it through a small orifice here in your lips, and then blow it through the mouthpiece, and then that vibrates and stuff and creates that. An example I may not have done is one that Vizzuti has done, and I'm sure countless others have done, is this right here. Hopefully it'll work. Not buzzing my mouthpiece. So the resistance of the horn itself also helps create the vibration. So the thing you don't want to do is you want to manipulate that back pressure and that resistance also to your advantage. So I don't know what mouthpiece that was. It's just a mouthpiece. So here's what we'll try to do is demonstrate just picking up a mouthpiece, not knowing what it is. So we're up to a D. Not the most beautiful. First notes of the day right there, other than the buzzing. So I don't know what that mouthpiece was. We'll set that over there. Here's another one, same kind of phrase. A little bit mellower. Interesting. So that's second mouthpiece. We'll put that right there. Brag up another one. Yeah, mix it up a little bit more. Don't know what they are. Feels shallower maybe. I don't know. Colder. Okay, we're getting up to F sharps and junk, right? One more. Alright, first mouthpiece. What was it? What was that first mouthpiece? Oh, oddly enough, that's my Bobby Shoe 2, and that is my go-to mouthpiece. About like a 3.5C. It's not, I mean, it's not shallow. I wish I could dictate, but this thing is not a shallow cut mouthpiece. Alright, what was the next one? Oh, the equivalent of a Bach 1.5C. Okay? That's why it sounded a little bit opener and mellow. That's a beautiful mouthpiece, to be honest. Occasionally I'll pull out just for fun, but did it hinder my range? No. What was this one? Third one. Oh, that's the Marcinko Signature Series. Now that is a somewhat tight back bore and shallow. And then the last one was what? Oh, it's a Bach, the equivalent of a Bach 3 or an E3, 3E. So it's basically 3C that's a little shallower. So the Bach 1.5C clump. So, okay, a little bit less there, right? And my Bobby Shoe. Basically, I have a solid F sharp. G's are a little bit out of my range. So, I just wanted to dispel the rumor that I can pick up a mouthpiece, like bolting a supercharger on a car, and double my horsepower, so to speak. It's not the case. Mouthpieces don't make you play high. What makes you play high is practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing correctly, practicing with good airflow. I might get into that later. I'm trying not to make these be too long, but overall you've just got to understand There's no magic mouthpiece. Find the one that works for you and lets you play the stuff that's required of you. That's the number one thing. Also, use the barometer of your sound to determine whether or not it's a good mouthpiece. That's my Bobby Shoe 2. Here's the Bach 1.5. Bobby Shoe 2. What was this? This was the Marcinkiewicz, the shallow one, right? And last not least was the E3. So how that comes across on the microphone and the recording, I'm not exactly sure. From my perspective, they sound quite similar across the board. I'll tell you 2 stories real quick in closing. One, in high school, when I was also of the thought, oh, I'll get a mouthpiece. I went and got a Schilke 6A4A. Look it up. One of the most shallow screech mouthpieces there are. Before that, I'd had an Al Hirt model jet tone, and I did not like that. I'm not Al Hirt, so I was unable to make that thing do what I want. But the Schilke 6A4A, everybody said that's too shallow. You know, teachers, etc. And I was determined to get a good sound out of it. I practiced on it hours and hours a day. I practiced big volume and big full sound as much as you can get through a piece of paper, a flat piece of metal. And at the time, I started getting a good sound. I also had a high G was common and often whenever I needed it. With that combination, I was also younger, better in shape, at least physically. And so for those 3 years, pretty much right actually into the second year of college, I think, might have been first year of college, where I swapped to a 12A4 Schilke. And that was the mouthpiece I played for 20, 30 years later till I went back to school. And my professor, Dr. Spencer, said, play a Bach 3 for right now, and then we'll go from there. But anyway, back to the high school. So I went to a number of ensembles, solo and ensembles, and most of my adjudication seats were continually. Of course, I was getting ones because I worked hard. Secondly, I was complimented on my sound, although a number of judges might throw in a phrase, a little jazzy at times. I remember that being a phrase. But overall, no one, as a matter of fact, they were astonished much of the time. Much of the time they were astonished that I was playing on a Schilke 6A4A. I'm pretty sure that was Bill Chase's mouthpiece. Some say it was the 5A4, but I'm pretty sure Bill Chase was playing on the 6A4A. Second story. Played a gig not too long ago, 2 years ago, I guess it was, for a New Year's Eve gig, 3-hour gig or so. And Earth, Wind & Fire, and I was the only horn player, and which was odd because usually they just want a sax if it's one, but they wanted a trumpet player. So Earth, Wind & Fire, Stevie Wonder, Bruno Mars, all the stuff that has some nice stuff, right? And besides improv and playing throughout the whole night. And I got to the gig and I pulled the mouthpiece out of my pocket, out of my pouch, and I played the whole gig with this Bach 1.5C. At the end of the night, I was putting the horn back up in the mouthpiece, and I noticed which one it was. But throughout the night, I had no issues. I mean, I was playing the licks. So not only is it not the mouthpiece, it's also this thing right here, your brain. You often can psych yourself out as a trumpet player, and that happens to us all. So that's it. I'll say one last thing. Somebody showed me one time. I don't have any music here at the moment, but imagine you've got a big band chart here, okay? Imagine you've got a big band chart, you're playing it, and then the phrases start going up to 2 ledger lines and 3 and 4 above here, and you're kind of freaking out maybe, right? Because look how high that is. Gosh, you know, that's up to an E, F, G, A, double A's. Oh my gosh. Here's the thing, it's air. So if you were to put your stand down like this, now all the notes are the same height, right? They're all flat here. What they are is those 3 and 4 ledger lines above the staff. They're just further out. They're just further past the top of the staff, right? So what do you do if you're trying to blow out that candle with a breath and it's placed another foot past you? More focused air. Big volume of air. Don't overthink it. Anyway, that's it for today. I tend to linger on, so I'll say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. Take care.